So do the Spurs already, well, maybe they do already have some three-point snipers.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Monday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're in the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you all back. Hope you had a great weekend. And as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every single day. You guys are the everydayers. Keep coming back here to Locked On Spurs for all things silver and black. We appreciate it. Hey, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Kings 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go do that right now. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So what are we talking about today? If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it on your screen. But if you're not and you're listening in, we're going to be talking about the three-point, the issue, I guess. A lot of Spurs fans will say, well, that's great. They got backup for Wemby. They got some bigs now. They got Harper. But, it's like, well, where's the three-point shooting going to come from? Do the Spurs maybe already have that on the roster? Maybe we're making a big deal out of this when it's already in front of our noses. Let's talk about that, including Locked On Spurs fan comments, and kicking us off on a Monday. He is back, everybody. He is Joe Garcia with Area 210 Podcast. Make sure to follow him on X at Area 210 Podcast. Very simple. Joe, I missed the alien. He's not behind you. Where is he?
No, you got to change the graphic every now and then. We got new graphics, new merch, new everything. You got a new intro song, the whole bit. Got to change things up every once in a while.
Yeah, I like the I do like the new intro song and everything. How did you make all that stuff? Like you're a pretty good whiz at all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean for the intro song, you just got to write the lyrics and stuff, but do a little bit of a backing track, little bit of a run and all that, and then I put it through some AI that I have here, my own private AI, Gigi. She helps me do everything with the podcast, show notes and all sorts of stuff. So she does a good job.
So what are you, Quincy Jones now? A music producer?
Nah, man, nothing like that. It's just an intro, little intro jingle for the show. That's it. I ain't making music or nothing like that.
Yeah, right. The next time you're gonna come on. So I wrote another song for another show that they asked me to do it. That's what's gonna happen. Again, Joe's with the Area 210 Podcast. See on your screen, watching YouTube. See that TV monitor behind him? Yeah, go there on YouTube and subscribe. We'll talk about that later on with this show. But Joe, you are here on a Monday to kick us off, and we're going to talk about the three-point line. Now, a lot of Spurs fans, you've said it on your show, just everywhere now, like, okay, well, where this three-point shooting going to come from? It's today's NBA. Look at such and such team. Look at Boston. Look at Oklahoma City. They got the Thunder, and everybody's shooting threes. But where's that going to come from the Spurs? Joe, do you think we're making a big deal out of this when maybe the snipers are already on the roster? I'm looking at guys like maybe Harrison Barnes. He shot at a pretty good clip last year. Wemby, I know a lot of Spurs fans hated that he drifts in the three-point line, but he does at least make them. What about guys like, Steph Castle, who showed improvement at the three line during the rookie season towards the end? Joe, do you think maybe the Spurs don't have to address the three line because maybe they already have some shooters?
The problem with it is that it's not consistent. You're going to be able to have here and there, a game here and there where they look great, knocking down some threes, but it's just not consistent, especially when they're going up against some of the upper echelon talent in the league. You kind of really see their shortcomings there. But, beyond just the three-point shooting, the Spurs, they don't have anybody that can kind of guard the wing as well. So it's not only three-point shooting that needs to be addressed. It's also who you're going to have as a 3-and-D type of player to go and help guard the wing. The Spurs this season, though, you're looking to see what the team has built upon, Jeff, and they're going to be better defensively. But the problem is they still got to put that ball in the bucket, so they're going to be a good defensive team. But it's still a big question mark in my mind. Where's that three-point shooting going to come from?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Harrison Barnes earlier. He was perhaps the most reliable guy from three line last year with San Antonio. And, maybe does he cool off a bit because he shot it at a pretty good clip? I don't know. But, Joe, do you think with the spacing that the new guy's going to bring, Dylan Harper kick and drive, kick out on drives. Wemby getting attention. Do you think the looks will be a little more open for the current 3-point shooters? And we're not even talking about Julian Champagnie, who shot the ball, well last season. What do you think?
My rebuttal to that wasn't, didn't they have a lot of open look last season? Jeremy Sohan coming out behind the arc, Wemby camping out behind the arc, not wanting to kind of play inside the paint.
Yeah.
And how well did that bode for them? Not very well. They still weren't a very good 3-point shooting team. I mean, are they absolutely horrible? I mean, that we have to go ahead and look at the stats for that, where they rank as far as 3-point shooting teams in the NBA. I would have to say they're probably near the bottom or maybe somewhere a little bit less than middle of the pack. But again, they haven't been notoriously a very good 3-point shooting team. And again, they're coming into this season. You have a roster that's going to be a better when it comes to their defense. But the problem is, who's going to be knocking those threes down consistently? The thing is, you got to, and it's not like the quantity of three, it's the quality. When you're wide open, can you knock down an open three? Much like, and I'm not harping on Sohan, just picking him out, but it's not just him, it's some of the other players as well. When they have the ability to knock down a wide open three, what happens? Clink. And then there you go. It's a long rebound going the other way. And you see teams too sometimes, they don't even come and guard the Spurs when they're shooting from beyond the arc. They're just like, well, we're going to kind of sag off and start kind of, letting them take their shot, but move inside the paint. And why do they do that? Because that they know already notoriously that they're just not a very good 3-point shooting team.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, look at some numbers here and see who the top snipers were last year for San Antonio. And right off the bat, Harrison Barnes, he shot 43% from the 3-line last year. Now, what about the volume? All right.
Yeah.
Well, he took about 4 to 5. So around there, like 4. This is 4.5. We'll say 5. So 4 to 5, 3 shots, and he made about 2 a game. So, again, the volume there, 4 to 5, so 43%. And then you keep on going down the roster, and I'm going to remove guys that didn't finish the season with the Spurs, so like City Sissoko, guys like that. But after that, it was, as far as on the current roster right now, it drops down to 37% with Julian Champagnie. He took about 6 a game, 5.9. He made about 2 to 3. So, and that's on the lower end, 2.2. So there you have it. You can see the drop from 43% from Harrison Barnes to 37% for Julian Champagnie. And after that, it's Devin Vassell actually with 37%. And then it's Wemby with 35%. And then Keldon rounds out at 32%. So, yeah. And what's interesting about these numbers, Joe, is this. Where are the guards in all this, right? You're like, okay, well, where's your Castle? Where's your Fox? Well, we keep on going down. Then it gets even worse because Steph Castle shot 28% from the 3-line. Now, he did improve to over 30% towards the end of the season. So that shows promise there. And De'Aaron Fox, 17 games played with San Antonio, 27% shooting, not notoriously a good 3-point shooter, but again, on the low end. Are you worried that the 3-point shooting is not coming from the right guys, your guard positions, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. What's the mantra for this season, upcoming season? Playoffs or bust, right? If you have a healthy team, going to get a healthy dose of seeing what does this team look like with a healthy Castle for one whole season with Wemby, with, let's say Vassell and everybody else, as a
Fox.
It's going to Fox, everybody, healthy. It's going to be playoffs or bust. You want to see them do well. You want to see them win more games than they did in the prior season. I think the Vegas odd makers have them at 42.5. Let's round it up to 43 games. Kind of close to what we had already said prior to the even, way before any of that chatter was even a thought. But regardless, if you're going to get further into the, let's say, play-in, right? We're talking play-ins. We're talking playoffs. You got to match up well with some of the better teams in the Western Conference. And what does that mean? You got to shoot the 3. Because what happens when, even though the spacing might be great, what happens at times in the playoffs or even in the play-in, the intensity, it gets amplified. Other teams are going to go out there and they're not going to play defense and lockdown defense for the full 48 minutes. But in stretches, if you're not able to go ahead and, let's say, knock down an open jumper, you can't get to the, to the rim, they're clogging the lane for you. you got to be able to shoot from somewhere, and you got to be able to knock down those threes. That way it can help with the floor spacing and help you get those easy shots and the ones, but we're going to have to see what happens this season. It's a wait and
Yep.
see. I don't want to say, oh, this is going to be an absolutely horrible team from beyond the arc,
Yeah.
but we can just be hopeful that things will get a little bit better. They're going to, you're going to see some growth in that department. But right now, as currently constructed, I think it's kind of going to be the same, but maybe just a little bit of as far as an improvement goes.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be anywhere near like what some of the upper echelon teams are shooting at a healthy clip from beyond the arc. That's not going to be their strong suit. But let me ask you a question, Jeff. What's wrong with just shooting twos? Why can't they just do that instead of shooting threes?
You know what? Let's hold on to that thought. Let's talk about that when we get back. Yeah, we're not done with this topic here. We're going to continue talking about the 3-shot, Joe's point about the 2-shot, so much more right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Joe Garcia. He is with Area 210 Podcast. You want to follow him on X at Area 210 Podcast right now. Hey, I want to talk about Monarch Money. You ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can be. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility, control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track your accounts, investments, spending, just in one spot. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. You can start tracking your spending. Maybe you spend too much on dining out or, entertainment. Monarch Money will help you manage that as well. If you share an account with somebody, Monarch Money app will keep you two on the same path. And yeah, it'll just help you stay on the same page. And perhaps you have a financial goal. Monarch Money will help you do that as well. So you want to take control of your finances right now with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com to get 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA. That'll get you half off your first year. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Joe Garcia with Area 210 Podcast. I missed the alien, though, Joe. Yeah, you got to get the alien back, man. He's so cool.
Oh, he's right here.
Oh, there he is. I knew he was here. Look at that, man. Did you ever give him a name?
Nah, it doesn't have a name. But you can get the merch, though. You're going to have a shirt coming your way as well.
All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, Joe will talk about that in just a few seconds. Again, he's with Area 210 Podcast. We're talking about the three-point shooting this upcoming season. Is it still an issue? Maybe it's not an issue. We look at the roster and perhaps other surprises along the way. Now, Joe, you asked about the 2-point shot before the break, and I think you're right. If the Spurs don't become a good, at least I would just say the bar is low, a decent 3-point shooting team, then yeah, kill them in the inside. But here's the other point about that. Considering how they are defensively right now, they're being constructed to be a very good defensive team. Maybe it's the thing of, hey, if we can't knock them down, then you sure as hell are not going to knock them down too. We're going to run you off that 3 line. So there's that as well. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you got to connect to your 2 shots, and you got to play defense and defend that 3 line. The Spurs are going to take away that advantage for other teams. Joe, how about this, though? I'm going to ask you this. What about incremental growth? You think the Spurs maybe might bank on that? Like saying, like, okay, well, we saw, you said Castle. Yeah, maybe he shot for the season, below 30%. But towards the end, like a sample, it was above 30%. So you show growth there. Wemby's going to be Wemby, so he's going to probably knock him down too. Barnes, maybe he takes a little dip. Anyway, that's kind of a high percentage. But nevertheless, do you think maybe the Spurs could bank on that, just growth from that department? Because we're seeing Castle off season right now working on his 3-shot. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the thing with the videos that they show with all these players. I'm glad. No, I'm glad that we're showing video that they're working in the gym. They're working on their shot. They're in there, doing their thing, Wemby wasn't able to do that because why? He was still recovering from his deep vein thrombosis. Just got the green light, to go ahead and return to full contact. So that's probably why we haven't seen videos of Wemby in the gym and stuff. So that's cool. But, I want to see these players do better. And even though they're in an empty gym and they're practicing on their craft, you want to see that translate into a real world scenario. And you could be hopeful if you're a Spurs fan that you're going to see some growth out of these young players. I mean, if they get better, what happens? The team gets better. the end of the day, we're all fans of the same team. We want the team to do better. And that's what I'm hopeful for. If they get better, what does that translate into? A couple more wins. Is that going to get you closer and closer to the play-in? Is it going to get you closer and closer to returning to the playoffs? Are you going to be the 6th seed, the 8th seed? Either way, it's going to be good to see, exciting, should I say, to see what they're going to do this upcoming season as far as their incremental growth, as far as individual players. One person that I'm really excited to see is Carter Bryant, as far as what he can do out there on the court as far as defense goes. Because the kid looks like he's legit, man. He's going to be out there and he's going to be a menace. Can you imagine pairing him with a Sohan out there at the same time? I mean, that's going to be a defensive nightmare for some of these teams, because both players have great lateral movement. They can get scrappy. Right. They're not afraid to get in your face and be pest. And that's what I'm looking forward to. You need to see that. Is this going to be the start of defense turning into offense because you're getting turnovers? Is going the other way for an easy bucket? That's what I'm looking for in this upcoming season.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, continue with the idea of maybe the three-point shooters are there. One guy we did not bring up, and he's a recent addition, and that is Kelly Olynyk. He shot the ball pretty well last season, and I think for a guy his size, he's a 7-footer. He's going to bring some floor spacing, so he might be one of the better three-point snipers on this team next season. I think his career is like hovering around 37, 38%. I believe last season he shot nearly about 40% from the three line. So there's that. I think he could be a wild card in all this. Another wild card on this, and you brought his name up too right now, is Carter Bryant. Sure, maybe he started off his summer league play offensively kind of shaky, but in that loss to the Hornets out in Vegas, he went 4 from 6 from the three line and really had his first, offensive coming out party, at least in that game, 16 points. So I got those two wild cards right there that could provide some three-point threats, if you will, for the Spurs roster. But Joe, what do you think about Riley Minix? He seems to be another wild card in all this, can bring some three-point shooting.
Him and David Jones-Garcia,
Oh, man, yeah.
We'll talk about him at another time, but Riley Minix, I think, because he was injured, and he had that shoulder surgery, Spurs fans really didn't get to see the full gamut of what he could bring. You saw little glimpses here and there, but that name has been coming out more and more. You're seeing him in Summer League right now, and he's looking great. I think the kid's played so good that he's earned a spot on this roster. Now, Riley Minix could be one of those variables that you didn't see coming. What if they go ahead and sign him and the kid plays so good and shoots that ball from beyond the arc at a healthy clip and he gets inserted into that second unit? I wouldn't be mad at it, but the thing is that I think Spurs fans have to realize, as good as both Riley Minix has played in Summer League and David Jones-Garcia has played in Summer League, if they go ahead and sign him to those two open roster spots, more than likely they're going to be insurance policies in case something happens to the other players, because they still, even though they look good in Summer League, they still got to prove themselves to the coaching staff. They got to earn their minutes
and do it in a real NBA game.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Not glorified practices out in Vegas right now. It's pretty much what it is. Let's wrap up this topic by asking you this question: which player on the roster you think will make the nice solid leap from the 3-point line next season?
Oh man, that's going to be a tough one.
See, I have fans saying that it could be Castle.
I don't know if it will be Castle. I mean, he's not really known for that, let's say, shooting prowess from beyond the arc. Can he improve? Absolutely. Now, you need to see incremental growth out of like your main players, such as Victor Wembanyama. You want to see him knock down more of those open threes when he has the opportunity to do so. I think he's really good at coming up the court and just kind of popping up and just shooting that three in stride. I mean, that's, to me, I think that's where he does his best shooting, when he's kind of just running up the court. I'd like to see him be able to shoot more of the spot up threes, and especially when he's got a hand in his face. He's so tall. I mean, if he just shoots right over his defender, they can't stop him, So I'd just like to see him improve, because I think if he improves from beyond the arc, what's going to happen is that's going to go ahead and get the attention of the opposing team's defenders. They're going to have to come out and really guard him, when he's out there on the wing. And what does that do? Open up the game, the spacing inside for the for the other for his players, for his other teammates, should I say, to go ahead and knock down maybe an easy, jumper? Can they go ahead and move well without the ball, get to the rim, get an and one? Those types of plays are going to be instrumental for the Spurs, I think, growing, because as long as you can space the floor and knock down those threes, you're going to give other people a chance to go ahead and eat. In other words, give them an opportunity to get their points, and it's going to have a better flow to the offense. I just want to see the growth. Really, I want to see the growth out of one Victor Wembanyama. Again, we didn't even really get to see what he could do because he missed 30 plus games because of the deep vein thrombosis. So I want to see him be healthy, and let's see what he can really do out there. He's going to be entering what now? His third season?
Year 3, I think.
Yeah, third season, So I want to see what he can do. We were robbed of what he could do in that second season because he got injured unexpectedly, But yeah, I want to see what he can really do alongside Fox. That's going to be your 1-2 punch. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you will probably see growth from the 3 line from Castle for sure. Yeah. Actually, I got Devin as well. I think the spacing that's going to be out there, the possible spacing, will help him. Devin is up there for me, and a wild card in all this too that will really have year to year jump from last year to this year is Luke Cornett. Why? Because he took no 3-point shots last season, Joe. He took none. So he's just going to make one, and that is the most dramatic increase from 1 year to another. Can you imagine that? Go look at the stats. He did not take one single 3-point shot for Boston last year. Not one. And that's amazing considering that team was a 3-point sniper team. I mean, think about it. They have Derek White, Tatum, Brown, Pritchard, Horford, a bunch of other guys. And remember, they set all kinds of records from the 3 line. But this is the one guy who took no threes from Boston last year, Joe. So he just got to make one, Joe. And guess what? The most incremental growth over 1 year for Luke Cornett.
It's funny with Cornett and like Olynyk and all them. The Spurs like their white boys, man, at center, because you go back to the days of old, right? The goofy white boy at center, right? Like Rasho Nesterovic, Will Perdue. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's like the tradition continues.
Dwayne Shinsis. Rest in peace, Dwayne Shinsis.
That?
Yeah, all right. Well, those are our thoughts about the current Spurs state of the 3-point line shooting. Maybe they do have the 3-point shooters on there. We named some guys already. Olynyk. We saw what Carter Bryant did in that game out in Vegas against Charlotte. Barnes was a pretty good 3-point shooter percentage-wise. So what do you think? Do you think it still needs to be addressed, or are they just going to run with the guys they got right now? Let Joe know your thoughts on X at Area 210 Podcast. You let me know by leaving a comment at Locked On Spurs YouTube page. We'll read in the future episode of Locked On Spurs. But that's what we're going to do right now. Coming up next, we're going to read. We'll see what we got in the mailbag, in the Locked On Spurs mailbag, and pick out one, maybe two, right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia. Make sure to follow him on X at Area 210 Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast. And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Joe Garcia with Area 210 Podcast. He's going to brag about his show in just a few minutes. Hey, it's your turn, guys. What are y'all talking about the Locked On Spurs YouTube page? We found one. We got one. And considering it is summer time, it is the summer, we'll keep with that theme. Surprise, surprise, Joe's about David Jones-Garcia. By the way, if he makes the Spurs route, we got to get a jersey, you and me. David Jones-Garcia. But I'm going to use...
He's family, Jeff.
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get like duct tape, like the silver duct tape. Instead of Jones Garcia, I'm going to replace it with an E and an F, like that in the back of the jersey.
Nah, just put Jefe Garcia, not Jeff, but Jefe.
Hey, for you, it should be easy because you got the J already and the O already. You just got to replace the E. So you're set. All right. So with that, let's see what y'all are talking about with David Jones Garcia. Now, I got it here. Let me pull it up. Okay. This is from Mark Springs 2271. Now, Mark, we appreciate you leaving a lengthy comment. We'd love it, all right? But I can't read it all, so I'll read a piece of it, and I'll get the idea across. So this is what Mark Springs has to say. He says, well, here we go, Joe. He says, why not offer Joe Garcia a roster contract? He's a true hybrid guard, unlike Fox, Champagnie, and McLaughlin. I see him more valuable to the team than Champagnie, McLaughlin, and even Keldon. Jones Garcia would be a great backup point guard to Harper if Fox is traded. But Bryant, may not want to get berated like Nico Harrison. All right. So if you got a spot for Jones-Garcia, give him a good 2-year deal contract. He goes on and on and on about Jones-Garcia. And he even ends it by saying, he goes, I know we got too many guards, but Mark Springs, thank you, by the way, Mark Springs, for doing that comment here, really wants Jones-Garcia on the roster. What do you think? I mean, he is proving to be instant offense, maybe not against that Charlotte game, but heading into that Charlotte game, he was 20 points or more. He's a veteran. He's paid his dues. Do you think the Spurs should give him a deal?
I think he's earned the right to go ahead and get a deal, but the problem is the eye test right now is what Spurs fans are excited about, because they like the energy, they like the effort, and you see him out there and it's like, man, this guy's just lighting it up. He's working hard. He's worked so hard. I think he's earned a roster spot, but let's pump the brakes a little bit. He's doing this in Summer League. Summer League, Jeff. Yeah. Can he do that in the context of an NBA game? Right. That's the question mark. And that's why I'm saying I'm not knocking the kid. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I love David Jones-Garcia and what he's able to do out there. Absolutely looks great. The eye test tells you that. Like I said, the energy and the effort, that's what you want out of a player, right? Mm-hmm. And he's able to be coached well. He does anything he needs to do and asked of him to go ahead and just help the team win. He's gone on record to say that, and the coaching staff has raved about him as well. He smells like a Spurs player, right? You could just plug him in the system and that's it. He's going to fit right in, right? But again, Jeff, we all know what the Spurs are like traditionally. They'll go ahead and maybe they'll get him a contract, they'll sign him, but more than likely what's going to happen to him? Is he just going to be sitting on the bench again and just having to earn those minutes? That's what's probably going to happen. Yeah, or be in Austin. Yeah. But is that necessarily a bad thing, though?
No, I don't think so at all. It's what I think, Mark Springs. I do agree with you that he's, opening eyes and, deserves an NBA roster spot. I just don't know if it's in San Antonio. That's the thing. And you said it too, too many guards. And yeah, think about it. From his point of view, does he want to come to a situation where he may not get NBA playing time? Don't definitely get G League playing time, but will he get NBA playing time? There's that. Also to consider the stage, as Joe mentioned. It is Summer League. Summer League is built for guys like that, to showcase what they can do. He's not playing against NBA players. These are guys that are fighting to get into the league or rookies that are just got drafted, figuring their way out. So keep that in mind too. Now, the Spurs do have a history of finding gems in the Summer League. Bryn Forbes, Gary Neal, Jonathan Simmons, the list goes on and on. And again, from his point of view, he's probably looking at the Spurs roster like, okay, there's Fox, there's Castle, and then there's my current summer teammate, Dylan Harper. Wow. Where are the minutes going to come from? Okay, maybe I can eat at the 2 guard. Okay, well, then there's Harper again. There's Castle, so on and so forth. Goes on and on. I mean, look what the Spurs did with Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley. They shut them out. Because they
what's their name?
Guards. Well, yeah.
What's their name?
He's your co-host over there. So as Mikey Mendes would say, gone. So they're gone because at their position, they're likely not going to get running time in San Antonio anymore. So that could be the situation that Jones-Garcia is facing in San Antonio. Now, would he want to stay in San Antonio considering he's playing for the Summer Spurs? Probably. Sure, why not? But I'm not going to be surprised, Joe, if another team picks him up. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, if the Spurs don't pick him up, he can go to a rival. What if the Dallas Mavericks pick him up or the Lakers pick him up, Clippers, you have the Denver Nuggets, Memphis Grizzlies, for example, Minnesota Timberwolves or the Houston Rockets, the the rival there that Spurs fans don't like,
And also, too, no way Jones-Garcia is going to get more minutes ahead of Fox. There's not going to.
Oh man, that's not going to happen.
They're not going to rock the boat with Fox by bringing Garcia and then say, "All right, Fox, you're going to reduce your minutes for Jones-Garcia." That ain't going to happen.
But you know what Jones-Garcia could be? He could be another Mamo. Come in, be a fan favorite.
Energy,
He gets those minutes on the court, and Spurs fans go crazy for him. You get excited. You're like, man, look at this guy out there. He's going to give you the best 3-4 minutes, at the end of a quarter, and then they're going to sit him down again. And You're just excited to see him come out and get some minutes every now and then. That's probably going to be what's going to happen to him at the end of the day. But if he's okay with it, learning, observing, downloading that data, and then when you get finally your time to shine and you go out there and who knows, maybe he'd have a 20, 30-point game and be like, wow, look at this dude. He came out of nowhere, and Spurs fans are going to be like, no, we've seen him in Summer League. We knew this was coming. It's going to be one of those scenarios. Either way, it'd be great to see him in the silver and black, and getting some minutes here and there.
I'm anticipating Spurs fans to riot if the Spurs don't pick him up.
I'm
waiting for that to happen. Look, if he's okay, coming off the bench or maybe playing in the G League in Austin, just fine, go for it. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, he's paid his dues. He's played with the Capitanes. He's played, with the Utah Jazz. He's showing out right now, Summer League. Even the Summer League coach for the Spurs, Noyes, was like, yeah, he deserves like an NBA deal. He didn't say a Spurs deal. He just said an NBA deal. So
I'm going to go get the jersey, Jeff. We're going to have to go get it.
I'm going to get it. We get manipulated. You can put Joe Garcia on yours. I'll put Jeff Garcia on mine.
So, no, I don't want Jeff. I want Jefe. I want yours to say.
All right. I'll do Jefe. Yeah, I'll do Jefe. But all right, well, we appreciate you leaving that comment there, Mark Springs. Keep it coming, and everybody else as well. Leave a comment here on Locked On Spurs. Joe, talk to us about Area 210, the alien you got there going on your T-shirt. What's going on?
Yeah, we just came up with a whole bunch of merch out there, and you can go check that out. It's going to be on our YouTube channel. And we do our show Monday through Friday from about 10 to about 11:30. We've been going over a little bit because Mike gets caught monologuing, Yeah. Loves to hear himself talk, so sometimes we got to yank him a little bit, but it's good talk. We've been having a lot of growth lately. It's hard to keep up with all that chat, because everybody's going crazy, bringing the super chats and whatnot. It's good discussions as of late because we've been talking Spurs Summer League and also been delving a little bit into entertainment and pop culture news.
Yeah.
And it was good having you on the show the other day too. So that was fun. And we get to cook Mike here and there. So that's always a good time.
Here and there. It's like daily, hourly.
Oh, man. Yeah. He can't help himself, Jeff. Sometimes he does it to himself. He says stuff and I'm just like, you already know, Jeff. And Jeff, sure enough, when we're doing the show, he's like, Jeff already put it out there. I'm like, I told you.
Yeah, I'll be tuning in and I won't comment, but I'm listening in. And then when I hear my name, I'll throw a comment in there. And then Joe will be like, see, I told you, Mike, he's listening. I told you he's listening.
Out of nowhere. You say his name 3 times, he shows up like this.
There you go, like Guido Juice. Yeah, there you go. Hey, Joe, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on a Monday to kick us off in the week here at Locked On Spurs. We definitely appreciate it. Again, he is Joe Garcia. Follow him on X at Area 210 Podcast. There you get all the links to his show. So much more, including that merch. Show us the alien T-shirt one more time.
Yeah, there you go. Alien T-shirt. There it is.
That was cool. I mean, that's the favorite one. I like when he puts the alien mascot over his head because it's like he's abducting him. He's coming for Joe.
Well, this one you can see a lot better. Area 210.
That's
what
true.
It is.
Yeah. You always afraid that because the alien, just the alien face. That's it. There's no other.
You can see Area 210, but it's in small. The font was a little bit smaller. This one has bigger font.
Gotcha. All right, Joe. Again, thank you for coming on a Monday here on Locked On Spurs. I appreciate it. Everybody else does watching right now as well. Everybody else, thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Make sure to come back tomorrow as we continue talking about the San Antonio Spurs in this offseason. By the way, now it's going to get quiet. Yeah, this is going to start beginning of the NBA
vacation time for Jeff.
Yeah, maybe. I said after Summer League, so I should be looking into that soon. But yeah, it's going to get slower, and I think that we're going to get a point here in the offseason, everybody, where Locked On Spurs will not be every day. So that point is coming up soon. But other than that, but we'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black. And make sure to go to YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, Kinsby Plus app, YouTube. Seriously, wherever you get the favorite podcast, if you ever Locked On Spurs. Check out Locked On NBA. It's on YouTube. Just go in the search bar there, put Locked On NBA, hit subscribe. You're good to go. So do that ASAP. So for Joe Garcia, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.